I'm starting out in my living room, my office, if you will. That's fine. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, I'm in the right category. I'm doing the right stuff. Okay, let's go to the kitchen and make that kvass because I actually need to do this quickly. I don't want it to over brew, over ferment. It's not really meant to do that. So let's head over there. And hello and welcome to anyone who's tuning in. Don't know if anyone's here yet because, like I said, we're just getting started out. We're going to the kitchen. Let's put the foam on top of something. Coffee filters again, that ought to do the trick. Pretty good setup, right? There we go. That should be fine. Alright. Let's get the kvass out, the star of the show. And here we have it here. This disgusting brown looking brew that is bubbling fiercely, meaning it is in the process of fermenting right now. And I don't want it to just completely ferment in here. I want it to be fermenting in the bottles. The color of the kitchen. Alright, so what I'll do, I'm going to get a towel. I'll be right back. Alright, so for today's brewing, we're going to need a few ingredients. So we got some people in here. Hello, Kvass and Orkoza and Dark Magnetic Storm. This is Kvass. This is, I don't know how to really describe it other than Eastern European bread, soda, beer, cider like thing. It's apparently what is done or what has been done over there for hundreds of years, possibly longer, to stale bread. Yeah, the bread stuff, exactly. I don't know what this tastes like. See, that's what I thought it was. I thought this was kind of like some sort of Soviet bootleg alcohol where people just didn't have access to alcohol, and this is what they made. Turns out it has a much longer history than that. It's actually like some kind of proto soda, because it was because when things ferment, it produces CO2, which carbonates it. So it's like an early way of carbonating things, but yeah, the concept interested me. You can't really buy it over here, as far as I'm aware. So I thought I'd try it. Really, the only way I have to try this, unless I go online and find it or something, is make it myself. So why not? We're already brewing stuff, right? And it's kind of related. It's not exactly like the brewing I've been doing, because this is not super alcoholic. It's a very, very low alcohol percentage, but it's not meant to be a super alcoholic thing. It's just kind of meant to be this refreshing carbonated drink with probably a bunch of nutrients in it, and it's probiotic or something or shit I don't care about. So yeah. Season when you make your own champagne. You mean you make your own champagne? Yeah, I'll eventually make champagne as well. I haven't done it yet. I mean, theoretically, I could turn the wine in there into champagne. I don't think I'm going to do it, but yeah, no, I figured we'll make a bunch at once. Go big or go home, right? If it sucks, it sucks. Things to keep them warm with the low alcohol content. I'm sure it helps even. Yeah, like even kids are supposed to drink this stuff. It's like the alcohol content can be variable. The most this could possibly ever be, if like it literally fermented every single last grain and molecule of sugar out of this, would be at most 5%. It's not going to get there. Unless I let this sit there for a long time, because this is only going. I'm going to transfer this. Oh, yeah, I'm going to explain everything I'm doing this in a second. Let me just get set up so I'm ready to do it, and then I'll explain exactly what I'm doing. You get drunk. There's a related prison drink that I was reading about. Yeah, this is all fine. I'm using stable, good ingredients, so no sketchy prison crap. Shochu, I'd have to look up how to do that. Shochu is usually about 20%. I don't know the brewing process for shochu. I can look it up. Anyway, let me get my gear. It's just over there on the sink. Well, shochu can be made out of a bunch of things. Yeah. The usual ones you find are like they're like those small Japanese potatoes, I think. But I'll see. What they made, a kind of punch. I'm guessing some kind of like a melomel, well, not a melomel. Just some kind of like fruit wine, I would guess. I don't know. Can I get those potatoes? The small, maybe? I don't know. I don't really go out of my way to look for them. Now, for this, I don't really, as far as I can tell, really need sanitization liquid. But I'm going to sanitize things anyway, just because I can, because I'm going to need to sanitize stuff for the wine afterwards anyway. Because this is only a short brew. There's nothing really going to grow in here in a couple days. I mean, basically, I only need to leave it out for another 8 hours or something, and then it should be good to go. So. Okay, we got ourselves a strainer. So I need a strainer. I'll need the turkey baster later. The bottling stuff. What's it called again? The auto siphon. There we go. Move this over the way. This fucking cake is annoying. I'm gonna move it back any further. There's a lot of things on this table. It's not just for brewing. But can I move the cake somewhere else? It's kind of in the way. Whatever. What else do I need? I think I need like one. Oh yeah, the no, I don't need the bottling one. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need containers to put this in. Let's see now, I'll grab some old bottles here. Plastic bottles will do for this. Alright, so I'm going to go quickly rinse these guys out. Some old plastic. These contain not tonic water, just soda water. So. Okay, maybe not this one. This one's kind of deformed. This one's got a better shape. Just rinsing it out with very hot water once and some soap, and then it's going to go in the sanitization bucket. So, I mean, again, these don't need to be as crazy clean as the other alcohols, but we're doing it anyway. Did you guys see me from over there, or even hear me? Doraki is just good. Also, I just realized something. When I'm cooking, I'm making kvass. This is not a bottle meant to hold carbonation. I don't know if there's a difference, but it wasn't holding a carbonated liquid, so I'm just not going to use it. Get another one of these holding fizzy water. Alright, now let's make our, I'm gonna need a full bucket or a half bucket. There's not really a lot of stuff to wash. I think I can go with a half bucket of sanitization fluid today. Oh yeah, graduated cylinder. That would be nice. Okay, we got our sanitization liquid back here. This is to keep everything clean, kill all the germs and whatnot. Alright, so I'm back. I missed probably a bunch of chat. Hello, everyone. I had to clean some stuff. Okay, so first order of business. I don't need an ABV reading on this because, like I said, it's not supposed to be super alcoholic, but I am wildly curious. Okay, how are we going to start this? Well, let's first sanitize the bottles because they're going to get transferred in very quickly. So, how are we going to do this here? You know, I should have just made a full bucket. It would have made things so much easier. Yeah. Too much stuff in this tiny little bucket. Futzing around in here. I guess I could probably move the Kvass out of the way. So to go from one container to another, it's all clean. I mean, it's clean liquid that's killed stuff going into another container to kill stuff, so. There we go. Oops, I want to do this. Oh yeah, the caps. Caps need to be sanitized as well. This doesn't, we're fine on that. Get the funnel out of there. Just keep filling it up. I'm just mumbling about cleaning stuff here. There's nothing super important going on. Am I going to need a graduated cylinder here? Or not a graduated cylinder. Well, yeah, we may as well clean this up. This is my turkey baster. Okay, now let's get all the small crap out of here because there's a large thing that needs to get washed in just a minute here. Now the other reason we need to get the Kvass out of that container is I'm going to need that to transfer the wine into in a minute. So after we're done with this, we're going to clean it out. Oh yeah, we never washed the hydrometer. Because again, I am curious about the alcohol content of this. It's not a big deal, it's just pure curiosity. I mean, it's never a really big deal, it's always out of curiosity, but. All this home brewing can only get but so alcoholic. Actually, I don't need to fully fill this one up. There's a lid I can swish stuff around here. Not enough room. Okay, you go sideways. That's fine. Well, that's annoying. I can't find the lid. It's over here somewhere. One sec. There it was, hidden underneath a bunch of stuff. Okay, let's move there. I'm just gonna go shake it around over the sink. Be right back. I don't need to pour. I still need that. I don't want to pour it out in the sink yet. All right, and last order of business. I guess I may as well sanitize this thing here. It'd be the cleanest the strainer's ever been. It's normally used for cooking, so you know. Draining pasta, shit like that. It's actually staining this a little bit. Oh well. This thing's really old. I could use a new strainer anyway. Starting to get some holes in it. You know, like the strainers, they got like those plastic crisscrossy things. Some of the plastic bits have like fallen out, so there's large holes in it. Now, the problem here is I got to transfer this stuff here into this thing here with a strainer. It's going to be a little bit on the awkward side. I don't know if I can do it here. Anyway, let's take this out. I don't need this anymore. Okay, so quick recap since we're going to get all this, let me move some stuff so I can sit down. We'll get all on the same page here. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, so hello again, everyone. We're just going to do a quick recap. Welcome. I haven't intentionally been missing anyone here. It's just I've been busy cleaning stuff and getting all set up to do stuff with the Kvass here. So what I have here is Kvass. It is some sort of Eastern European bread-based soda, beer, cider-like thing with a very low ABV. The most this could possibly be, alcohol content-wise, is somewhere in the 4%, maybe 5%, if I left it for a long time. The thing is, it's not meant to be super alcohol. It's a low ABV, kind of refreshing, effervescent / depending on what you do, carbonated kind of drink. It is naturally carbonated with the yeast in there, so it just creates CO2 and it makes it, fizzy. I made this with homemade pumpernickel. So actually, why don't I tell you what's in here? So it's basically the whole process is you take about I used a couple recipes and combined them, and I probably shouldn't be doing this first time ever doing something like this, but you know, I figured that these two look kind of nice, let's mix them up. So what I did is it's 1.25 or 1.25 gallons. Sorry, I'm going to use freedom units here because that's just what was on the recipe. And I understand both science and freedom units. So I interchange between the two. But in any case, 1.25 gallon water, boiled, and then in that boiling, after the water is boiled, I stuck in 3 very large pieces of homemade pumpernickel. So the bread, obviously, you know, when you make it yourself, is not exactly standard loaf size. There were 3 very big pieces of bread, pumpernickel, that I toasted in the oven until they were like basically not charred, but very dark, like super dark toast. Just threw them in there. Along with 2 packs of raisins. Each pack is about an ounce or 30 grams per box. And 2 slices of lemon. And I let that steep for about 8 hours, maybe a bit longer because I wasn't paying attention, I'm sure. Anyway, it steeps for a while. And then what I did is, after it was done steeping, I transferred it, or I took the soggy, disgusting bread out that gets thrown out, and then transferred it into, for temporarily I transferred it into this thing here so I could kind of strain out some of the crap. And Then I transferred it from in this thing over to my carboy, which is probably an unnecessary step. As far as I can tell, this is much more kind of a lax. It's not like super. It's not like the normal alcohol brewing I've been doing. This is more kind of a. It's like making something halfway between alcohol and a soft drink, really. So I do have carboys, so I figured I'd put it in a carboy with an airlock and all that stuff, so I could observe how it's basically fermenting. And yeah, and then it just sat there for about a little over 12 hours. I don't know how exactly long it's supposed to stay in there. That was roughly about right according to most of the things I was reading. I was reading anywhere between like 3 to 24 hours. So I was like, well, let's do, I think I did about 14. So that's how long that's been sitting in there roughly. And as you can see, maybe you can, from there you guys can see. So it's bubbling up quite nicely. It is fermenting. And, oh wait, no, I forgot to step in there. Before I transferred it and all this stuff, well, it was still in that original steeping stage, right at like the end after 8 hours. I put in 1.5 cups of sugar and a tablespoon of bread yeast. I just use fast-acting yeast. It's what I use to brew, so it works. When I'm brewing my wine and meads and ciders and stuff. So that seemed to work perfectly fine. And yeah, that was before I started transferring it. So when the bread, or rather, right after I'd taken all the bread out, and so it was like relatively free, and the only thing floating around in there was raisins. Then I put all that stuff in, and then I did the transfer. But in any case, that doesn't really matter. I don't think any of you guys actually want to make it. Well, I don't know, maybe you do. I don't know how this is going to taste. I have literally no idea. Sometime tomorrow, I'll be trying it out for the first time. I could test it now, and ideally I should be. Because then I could probably adjust sweetness and do things at this point still. The thing is, I want to try the finished product and have it just be a surprise, because like the description, I don't know, I can't really find a very good description of what this stuff tastes like. It seems very vague, which intrigues me. So it should be fun. Is this drink cold? Yes. It'll be in the refrigerator later. I have a hydrometer, yeah. Or are you talking to me or someone else? Anyway, before we move on, do we have any quick questions here? Because I'm going to probably make a bit of a mess trying to transfer this stuff around, because I have awkwardly shaped containers. I couldn't actually find a really big, like, circular proper pitcher. This is the best I could find, this rectangular thing. So, you want to try it? Well, I mean, I did too, so I mean, it's not that weird, I suppose. Or maybe I'm weird. Maybe we're both weird. It should be neat. Okay, so let me explain what I'm doing now. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to transfer this stuff into here, straining out all the raisins and any kind of like stray matter that might be in there, particularly like small bits of bread and stuff like that. And then from there, I'm going to transfer it into various bottles to bottle carb even further. Because right now it's probably effervescent, not necessarily carbonated. So it's like slightly carbonated, but not like that really fizzy kind of thing I want. So beyond that, that's why we're using, for the most part, plastic bottles, because this I'll be able to tell. In my on my trial run with the ciders, it worked perfectly, where it was just kind of like when it becomes too carbonated, the resistance on the bottle becomes very, very stiff, and you can't really squeeze it anymore. And it's like, oh, okay, let's put it in the fridge now, because it's going to explode. Because once you put it in the fridge, it should stop carbonating. Granted, there are some weird processes that are going on in here that are not just the yeast process, fermenting. I believe there's some kind of malolactic fermentation. I don't, there's shit that's going on that I don't know. So hopefully we don't have shit exploding in our fridge. That would be bad. But in any case, let's get on with it here and start transferring some stuff. It doesn't really matter if there's a bit of liquid in here still, but yeah, may as well get it as dry as possible. I'm going to go just like fling this around to make it a bit drier. Okay, that should be interesting. Can I do this without holding it? I think I can. Let me move it to a position where you guys can actually see what I'm doing here. This is so sketchy. Actually, no, I can do this. I can pour with one hand and hold with the other. There we go. You guys maybe can see what I'm doing, maybe not. I'm more concerned with not spilling stuff, so you guys will have to just deal. Okay, I'm going to be pretty thorough about getting everything out because I want the yeast in there still. That's what will give us our carbonation, as far as I'm aware. Honestly, it doesn't smell too bad. Smell kind of not so great over there, but okay. So there's a few rando particles floating around in there. I can just spoon those out. Okay, I can't really see chat for just a moment here. I just got to focus on this for just a few seconds, so if you'll indulge me. Getting these last few particles out, it's not the biggest deal in the world. It just make it nicer, I imagine. If you can make something nice, why not? I am so tempted to just try a little bit of this right now, but I'm not going to. Like I said, I want the final flavor when it's actually done to be just a complete surprise. So I'll start filling that jug over there because, like I said, I need it later. I could pour this in here, but oh yeah. So normally when I'm doing stuff like this, I'd use an auto siphon, but this is not, like I said, normal brewing exactly. It's not like I'm making a proper alcohol, so I'm not going to use an auto siphon. Like the first few stages involve basically none of the sanitization fluid back here that I always use for long-term brews. This is always very short, so. Now the question is, can I even get this in here? Or not in here, can I get the hydrometer to actually get a reading? Because this is probably going to be exceedingly effervescent. And that means there'll just be bubbles all over the place, so it's going to make taking a reading a little bit hard. Because the bubbles will cling to the hydrometer. And so, just so we're on the same page again, hydrometer is what you use to get an alcohol reading. And again, this is not a necessary step whatsoever, especially for something like this, simply because this is not meant to be a super alcoholic drink or anything like that. I'm just curious. It's meant to be slightly alcoholic. So same deal when I actually go to bottle this as well. We're not going to use a hydro or what's it called? A bottling wand or an auto siphon. I'm just going to dump it in there. I'm not super concerned with the oxidation or anything like that. It doesn't seem like that's a big deal with this brew, so. So I'm going to just try and take a very quick reading. It's going to be rough because it's probably just going to be tons of bubbles sticking in there, and I can't even see the bubbles because this is too cloudy. This looks like is 1024 maybe, and it's not done, by the way. It spends another day fermenting in the bottle, so it becomes slightly more alcoholic. I said 1024, right? In fact, let me go take a reading, or let me do some calculations on my computer. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. This is only 1% alcohol right now. So actually that ties into what you're saying, Cement. I am mildly concerned about getting a bunch of the carbonation, but it ultimately wouldn't be a big deal either way. But yeah, there is a lot of sugar still in here that can still be fermented to make it even more carbonated. The most of the carbonation, I suspect, is going to be happening in the bottle itself. So if it remains, I mean, it'll remain at least somewhat effervescent going in. So the more primed it is, like the more fizzy it is going into the bottles, the faster it'll be. But yeah. Also, I see more just kind of crap floating around. These look like old breadcrumbs. I'm just gonna try and get them out with a spoon. I just realized something. I have not sanitized these bottles yet. So I'm going to be using 2 glass bottles as well, just because I can. I guess this can go back in here for now. I'll sanitize this in a minute. Now these are Grolsch bottles. They're you guys might remember this from I did the bottling of the cider on stream. I put the ciders in those. Incidentally, my cider is done. I think it's in the fridge right now. So I might go ahead and open one of those after I'm done all this. So there will be some interaction with the cider today, possibly. Alright, so now we're moving this stuff over here. Cleaning out the bottles. Again, I'm pretty sure this excessive sanitization step is not necessary for Kvass specifically. I'm just doing it. These other things, however, do need to be sanitized because wine, which I'm going to be touching, I keep saying this later, but they're very different things. So the wine specifically, I do need the actual sanitization for. Need is a strong word. I could get away without doing it, but it's been. The wine is designed to be drank very young with the recipe I'm doing. So it's not like it's a huge time investment, but it's been sitting in there for almost 3 weeks, and I'd rather not have 3 weeks and all those ingredients go to waste. So don't want it turning into a vinegar at this point. Okay, so now where is my funnel? Oh, here it is. So I'm just going to be transferring this directly into these bottles. Again, no auto siphon or anything, nothing fancy. We're just going to pour it. 1 bottle at a time. Now this is going to be somewhat precarious once again, because this is plastic and they don't weigh very much, which means I got to do this one-handed, and yeah. The plastic bottles are very light, obviously, so they don't stand up on their own, so I got to give them a bit of support. Whoop. Okay. It's a bit too much. It's fizzing up, so basically the fizz kind of spilled over. Should I bother clean? You know, let me just clean this now really quickly. Oh wow, when it's been poured into the bottle, I can really smell the pumpernickel. Yeah, it's enough headspace. I'm going to leave it open for now, so basically all the bottles are equally, they have an equal amount of gas at the top. It's not going to ultimately make that much of a difference, you know, it's going to be a minute between all of them, but maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes. I don't know, we'll see how long this takes. What the fuck? My sanitization liquid has turned blue. Huh, how'd that happen? Something must have chemically reacted with the iodine. Do we have any chemists in here? Why would an iodine solution turn blue? Something about like a pH level maybe? I don't know. No, not the liquid itself. The cleaning fluid is blue, which is really, it's not supposed to do that, or it doesn't normally do that. I've never seen it do it. It looks like actually, I'm not gonna need those glass bottles. I think we're gonna fill up these 3 and it'll be full. I might have to fill the other 2 up with just a little bit more, but yeah, there's like barely any left. I'll just put a little bit more in each one, I guess. So there's a tiny bit left. I just don't, there's nothing I can do with this. This is not enough to use on it. Like normally, you know, if this is an actual alcoholic brew or whatever, I'd drink this. But like I said, I want to have, A, this is not done. It probably doesn't taste as good as it's going to, or if it's going to taste good at all. And B, I want to save the surprise for when it's like actually done, because every time I try and find a description on what this tastes like, it's just people don't have a particularly good description. So, unfortunately, this tiny little bit of liquid at the bottom here, that's like maybe 200 milliliters. It's like a small cup of juice or something. It is gonna go to waste. Hate doing it, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so that produced just like a little over 3 liters, it looks like. These are each roughly a liter, so Yeah, I'm just kind of weirded out by this turning blue. It's probably not a big deal or a deal at all, but I do want to look up why it's doing that before we move on to the wine. So I'm going to be right back. It should be an easy find. Just make sure the lids are on tight. And so I'm going to monitor. Let me sneeze. Ugh. So over the next, I don't know, until now when I go to bed, I'm going to be monitoring these closely, just to see how carbonated they're getting. And it's a pretty easy thing to tell. Right now, you can see they're pretty flexible. I can squeeze it. When you feel like actual legitimate resistance, and you can't really squeeze it in very much, like it's a soda you've shaken up or something, and it's like it feels almost like it's going to explode or something. That means it's done, and then it's time to put in the fridge because you don't want these things blowing up. I don't know how they'd blow up. I imagine maybe the lid would, or the cap would break and it would just burst off. I'm not really sure. But these are meant to hold carbonated beverages anyway, so they're pretty sturdy, I would imagine. So yeah, there you have it. We're going to put these to the side, and it'll probably be ready to drink by tomorrow if I had to guess. I suspect right before, if I had to guess, I'm not sure yet, but if I had to guess, I'm probably going to end up having to put these in the fridge before I go to sleep because they're still very actively fermenting, so it'll be releasing a lot of CO2, and then I'll just put them in the fridge while I'm asleep, and tomorrow morning they'll be ready. I don't know if I'm going to drink it, in the morning, but I'll drink it sometime tomorrow probably. So we're going to put these off to the side. What time is it where I live? I don't know. It's probably around like 5 or 6. Okay, I'm going to be right back and see if I can find any information on sanitization liquid turning blue. Again, I suspect it's something to do with like maybe a change in the pH in the water or something. It's just I've never seen that, so I do want to confirm what's going on. Okay, I have my answer, partially anyway. I was on the right track. So apparently, because IOSTAR is an iodine-based sanitization thing. So what happens is apparently iodine, when it contacts starch, turns blue, or either maybe it turns the starch blue. Something turns blue, basically. So that's what we have there. As far as I can tell, this is fine still. It's just there's starchiness in here, so it turned the water kind of just faintly blue. Presumably, this is still safe to use. Like that would be really weird if it wasn't. Um, just because it's meant to work with food, and if it didn't work with anything with starch in it and became toxic or something, this seems like the thing that wouldn't be sold. So anyway, I'm just gonna go grab the other carboy. Used to do that in school to test for starch in food. Yeah, apparently there's some kind of like starch test or something that you use iodine for, so it's kind of neat. I'd never done that, but you know what? I'm going to move the camera where you can see that I'm doing at the sink. So I'm going to need this thing. There's a rather stubborn Croissant line on the carboy. Um, Maybe I should bring it over so you guys can see it actually. You can kind of see the sink that way. Yeah. So there's a dark line up there. I think that's a combination of gunk from maybe the raisins and just starches and proteins and stuff from the yeast that gets stuck right there when it bubbles up. And I've never seen anything that sticks on this hard, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, I just got to clean that off. And man, that stupid brush is useless. It was the worst $2 purchase ever. It is really stubbornly stuck on there. I'm not sure I'm going to get it off. Let me try again with that brush. But... Just going to keep shaking this for a while. It'll eventually come off. It's becoming more and more faint the more I do this. Yeah, it's mostly gone. Let's do this for maybe another minute. We should be good. Toothbrushes, not really. I don't think it'd be long enough. It's in this really annoying spot where the brush just can't quite reach it, and I don't think the toothbrushes would be long enough to get down there. Also, they wouldn't be flexible enough too, because there's a curve, so the toothbrush would just like hit the side and wouldn't be able to get to the thing. I think that got it. We're good. Also, I just realized something. I don't want this liquid, even if it's safe, I don't necessarily want it staining my equipment blue. So I'm just going to go exchange it out. I'm going to make new sanitization fluid. Okay, so for today's latter half of today's show, we're going to be dealing with this wine. Now, unlike the Kvass, I am going to be tasting this wine, and I am very curious to see how the flavor profile is shaping up. I'm also going to take hydrometer reading, the usual thing, just to make sure everything's working in here. You guys can't, yeah, I guess you can't really see the airlock from here, but the bubbling has stopped for, I want to say, 5 days now, so there's no CO2 really being released, not really at this point. So I could probably drink this, but I want to clarify a little bit more. So what I'm gonna, well, I'll explain in a minute. Explanation as to what's happening with the wine when I come back, because I need to clean some stuff. In fact, the bottling apparatus, or the auto siphon. So the thing I'm going to use to transfer a liquid from here to here, it's easier to just wash in the sink. So I'll just be right back. It's very large and kind of unwieldy, so and the bucket, basically the bucket is too small. I need a bigger bucket. All right, that's looking good. Did I ever wash this? Okay, so I guess I can put these guys away. I don't need them anymore. Oh, you can't see that. Yeah, I don't need these glass bottles anymore. I'm just gonna put them away. All right, let's get the blue liquid off the funnel. Watch it like re-stain this whole batch. I suspect it requires quite a bit of starch to do that. It was a very starchy drink, I would imagine. So this is I've already washed. Let's just wash it again. Quick rinse. The hose has not been washed yet, so we're going to submerge this hose down in sanitization fluid. Whoa. Okay, good enough. That's all clean. Alright, so what we need to do is, well, we're going to need new sanitization fluid in the airlock, so we can transfer this. We'll re-sanitize the airlock, why not? It hasn't even been in here for a week, but we're doing this anyway, so why not, right? Get out of there. Oh, right, we need to sanitize the cardboard as well. Let's get started on that. That can take a while. Or it doesn't take a while, but you know. I want to give it time to dry as well. And you know what? I just realized something. We should probably sanitize the hydrometer just a little bit more. It was sitting in that other mystery liquid for a while. By mystery liquid, I mean the Kvass. Incidentally, a small update on the Kvass that's sitting over there. I can see it bubbling and fizzing inside the bottle, so that's gonna carbonate in there really quickly. Like if it's not ready before I go to sleep tonight, it'll be ready by the time I wake up. So obviously I washed this with soap and all that, but this is the final sanitization process. It doesn't need to be full because I can shake it up with the liquid inside. I'll show you guys in a minute. So again, compared to what we were just doing, this is much more of your normal sort of formal brewing process. So we're going to try and do things a bit more properly. So for the second time, we're going to be shaking stuff you don't want to be drinking inside this. Not that this is poisonous, this is food safe, so you could probably drink this and not get sick. I don't know, you probably don't want to. It's like a super low percentage iodine solution. Alright, we should be ready to go. I did wash, I'm pretty sure I washed these things, but I can't remember, so let's just do it again. This is the, what's this thing called again? The turkey baster. Allegedly there's proper equipment for this. I think it's called a wine thief or something like that, but the turkey baster just is fine, so I see no reason to buy expensive specialized equipment. This cost me like $2-3, something like that, I don't know. Granted, I don't know how much a wine thief costs. Does anyone want to look that up? Like look up wine thief on Amazon? I suspect it's probably, I don't know, like $20 and it's like going to be made of metal or something dumb like that. Anyway, you know, I haven't been able to see chat much, so let's just sit down and see what you guys are up to. Are we still talking about the super annoying in there? I don't know what you're referencing, but I'm sure it was annoying. We're just gonna I'm just squeezing it to get all the liquid out. The air will blow it out. Okay, so we are going to take a hydrometer reading of the wine to make sure it is completely inactive and has not continued. I'm almost certain it's done fermenting, but, well, I can't be certain. But I feel like it's done fermenting, but we're going to check anyway. Oops, I don't want to get air in there. Thing came off. Definitely cleared up at least a little bit since I last tested this stuff. It's almost a week ago. Wait, when did I last test this? You know, I don't actually remember. It was sometime around a week ago, I want to say. It would have been whenever I last did, well, you know, I'll just check my notes later. That might be enough. Let me see. Where's my hydrometer? Oh, it's right over there. Nope, that isn't enough. It's gonna be too much liquid, I think. I just barely fit. Nope, I'm not. Okay. Am I done with this? Well, I'll just put it here for now. So, the hydrometer reading. Let's take that and see how alcoholic it is. Wait, what's €9? Oh, the wine thief. €9 in Canadian dollars. It's probably like 15, 16 bucks if I had made 15 bucks. I suspect anything to do with wine might be a bit more expensive in North America, but I don't know. Okay, so what is the hydrometer saying today? Oh, this actually dropped quite low. Is it still actually fermenting? Maybe the bubbles are carrying it up. Let's spin it again. So did I mention why I spun the thing earlier? When you spin it, it gets all the bubbles off the side so it doesn't float the hydrometer. Yeah, this has become slightly more alcoholic since we last checked it. It is currently sitting at 1.0. Stop spinning, please. God damn it, it keeps going to the wrong side. Huh, this is actually quite dry. Is this a 1.0? 0.6? Huh. I expected this to be sweeter. Well, I mean, you know, flavors can vary, so we'll check that in a minute, but I'm going to go check what the alcohol percentage on this is. This is going to be probably quite high alcohol percentage. I'm just going to be right back and do the calculation on my computer. Back in like less than a minute. This stuff is 13.39% alcohol volume, whatever. 13.3, what did I say? 13.36%? Something, it's 13 point something percent. So slightly stronger than your average wine, you know, you'd find in the store. Usually it's like 12 is the average, right? So interesting. It's still in the right ballpark though. So this yeast, this is just generic bread yeast, has proven itself extremely proficient at producing alcohol. I don't know what's wrong with the tub of it I had, but it's I don't know. It's bread yeast, but it's really good at making alcohol apparently. Okay, well let's have a small taste then, shall we? I want to see what this tastes like. Alright, we're going to test it out in my tiny, let me just double check the reading here. 2, 4. This could be 8 actually. 2, 4. Might actually be 8. It's also possible it's floated a bit, but it shouldn't be. You know what? I'm going to revise my statement to 8. 10.08 or 1.008, which makes a little bit more sense to me. But at the same time, I can see a few bubbles kind of clinging to it. But it's also not moving from here. It doesn't really matter ultimately. What matters is the flavor. Still reasonably cloudy. I'll explain what I'm doing to make it slightly less cloudy later, but oh, this is still very effervescent actually. That's interesting. It's definitely tasting a lot more wine-like though. When I tasted it about a week ago, it still tasted like alcoholic grape juice, despite the fact that it was floating around 12%. Oh no, that's interesting. Wow, the flavor actually. See, I'm not one of those. I keep saying this. I'm not one of those guys that's just like, oh, it's got fruity notes of something, and the scent is something. It'd be nice if I could do that and describe it to you guys, but I just don't do that. But the flavor just changes over time. So you take a sip, and you kind of get almost like a champagne-like. It's a bit kind of a dry, yeah, like an effervescent dry red wine. And then as it goes to sort of the back of your mouth, it is almost like it reverts back into a sweet grape juice. It's actually quite pleasant. I like this. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, in your traditional wine making sense. All I know is I really like the direction this wine has gone, because 2 weeks ago it wasn't even remotely done. It didn't taste great. It didn't smell great. Now that kind of fermenting fruit smell is largely gone. It's still there a bit. It'll continue to clear away. But how old is this juice? This has been fermenting for since the 5th, I want to say, of this month. So however many weeks ago that is. So it's not that old. But again, this wine is meant to be drank young. It's not supposed to sit around for a long time. Granted, according to the recipe that I was making it from, basically the older it gets for a wine, it's weird. It's just like if you want a quick wine, this is good and tasty, and then you can be able to drink it within a month. And as the older it gets, unlike most wines, it actually starts to lose that kind of sweet, tasty kind of quality to it, I guess, and starts to become more like a traditional wine in terms of its flavor. And that's not so allegedly good for it. The thing is, this is actually a modified recipe. I did see the thing, and I was like, you know what, I can maybe make something halfway in between. So maybe this will actually get better with age. I don't know. But honestly, I would drink this right now. I am going to do a few more things with it, like a transfer it, because I do want to get it off the raisins and stuff. But yeah, just that hint of effervescence is actually quite pleasant. It doesn't sound great, right? Because it almost sounds like it's like a pop that's almost flat or something. But it kind of gives it almost like just a bit of a sparkly bite. Bite is not even the right word for it. You know what I mean? It's kind of got like the essence of sparkliness there. So it's, I like it. It was good. In fact, let me just go do something really quickly here. I will be just right back, and then then I'm going to go use the auto siphon to well, I'll explain. Alright, so what we're doing is I'm going to be transferring all of this into here. And the reason we're doing that is I wanted to get it off the raisins and off the sediment so it has time to clear up. So when I go to bottle it, probably actually in a few days. This doesn't really need to sit around for too much longer. I might degas it later too. I haven't decided. I probably will. Make it just totally flat. I don't know. I like the effervescence. It's a tough call. I'll think about it. But anyway, that's not, we don't have to worry about that right now. It'll probably degas while I'm well, we'll see. If I do it right, it won't degas very much. But yeah, it's just basically gonna get the crap out of there. So when I go to bottle it, I'll have a much clearer thing. So it's all gonna go in here, and then I'm probably actually gonna put this in the fridge, which will stop. Oh crap! I just realized something. I am not 100% certain if the fermentation is done in this. It actually has fermented like 6 points in about a week. You know what I'll do? I'll leave it in this bottle for 1 more week, and then I keep cutting myself off before we get to this stage that I want to talk about. But I want to cold crash it, basically, which will stop any kind of fermentation action and basically force the yeasts, all the dead yeast or inactive yeast, out of the wine, and it'll sink to the bottom. And we'll have something much clearer, which is not, a really big deal. I don't care too much, but it'll look nicer, and it'll probably improve the taste a bit because there's less yeast floating around inside, right? All right, so how do I want to do this? Let's go ahead and start up the auto siphon. Oh, right, yeah, the auto siphon I need to put under hot water. So what I need to do is, in order to fit this onto the siphon thing, this plastic tube, it's like kind of hard right now, so I need to put it under very, very hot water. It'll get softer, and then I can mash it into the thing. So I just gotta put it under the sink. I'll be right back. It's always a super annoying step. I just gotta do it off. I'll do it off camera because it's kind of harder to do it on camera because of how things are positioned. Okay, good, we got the seal. So here's how it's going to work. Maybe should I move the camera up a bit? Yeah, I'm gonna move the camera up a bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. Just change the angle. There you go. So, oh, wait, I'm not, what am I doing? I can't do this right now. I need to get well, let me do this now so you guys can see what I'm doing. But this end is gonna go in this end like this, and this end is going to go in like this, and it's going to transfer. However, this one here needs to be at a higher elevation because that's just how it works. So I'm going to go get a big pot so it can sit higher. I got one right here. Also, after we're done with the wine, remember we still have the cider. I don't need to do anything with the cider. I don't need to drink the cider. Just cleaning off the end of the siphon there. It briefly touched my pants, and my pants are pretty clean, but you know, I wouldn't want to brew inside my pants. That sounds weird, but you get the point. I guess it'd be on the outside of the pants. Okay, make sure this is all twisted up. Okay, so you can go in here, and I don't need to worry about this getting pushed around because it's a pretty heavy, sturdy glass container. Although maybe move it away from the edge of the table just a little bit. I don't want to disturb the lees too much in the original vessel. Get it down below the raisin layer here. Alright, should be good. I'd like to sit down, but I can't, so... There we go. Once you get it going, you just need to pump it to the point where it actually is active. Maybe I can read chat a bit while this is happening. Although I really should be paying attention to what the liquid levels are doing, but... hello, the beer Jesus, welcome. We're not making beer today, we're making wine. Eventually I'll make beer. I just don't want to do that, like, starting mash step yet, so it's like the one main alcohol type that I've never actually made. And settle some more. Yeah, I do want it to settle more. That is the thing. At the same time, though, this is meant to be drunk pretty young, so I don't want to leave it around too long either. There seems to be significant diminishing returns, and after, allegedly anyway, at a certain point, man, did the autosiphon cut me? Yeah, I'm actually bleeding. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm not fingering you guys. Well, I guess I am, but I actually somehow managed to cut myself on the autosiphon. That's amazing. It's a dangerous hobby. Why am I changing jugs? Just to get it off the raisins and remove the lees. And basically, because I want it to... I want the remaining yeast to flocculate out of this faster for... It's not even going to be a final racking. It's a pseudo racking. I'm probably going to put it in a jug and then bottle it, but I want this to clear up just a little bit more. Alright, here we go. And by I guess clear up a little bit more, this will actually probably clear up quite a bit. It's quite cloudy still, so. Okay, now we're going to start tipping this thing because the liquid levels are getting low. And the lower we get, the more it starts to slow down. So. Now, if I get a little bit of stuff in here, it's not a big deal. This is probably gonna be like the final, official formal racking thing where it's gonna sit around. But I am going to again just do a pseudo racking with the. I don't. Is that the right? I don't know. Is it? I don't know some of these terminology things. I haven't been doing this that long, but when you just put it in a jug for a little bit to immediately transfer into bottles, is that a racking? I don't know. Oh, we got a raisin. I can see it floating through. Damn. Well, you got a raisin in there. Not a big deal. It's only one. Alright, looks like we're getting most of the liquid here without too much sediment crap floating through. Starting to get to the, oh yeah, there we go. That'll do it. Okay, there's a tiny bit left in the bottling wand. Or not the bottling wand, the siphon, but that's okay. Okay, you can stop going backwards. Okay, well, there's a bit of headspace here. I'm not super concerned. I don't think, or rather I said, this is not going to sit around too long. This is meant to be drank young, as I keep saying that over and over again. Even though I did modify the recipe. So, I don't know. It's a bit of an experiment. Now, granted, everything at this stage is still an experiment for me. I haven't been doing that long. Oh, yeah, we still have this wine over here. That's actually not all of it. That's going to fill up just a little bit more. If I can get this stupid hose off the... Can I just yank it off? I don't want to break anything is the problem. I might have to run that under hot water later. You know what? I'm going to get it off now. This thing is too large. It's going to fall over and knock something over, so... I'm just going to put it in the sink. Yeah, we still have 160 milliliters from this stuff when we were using the hydrometer, so it'll fill up just a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's a respectable amount of alcohol left over. So we've basically wasted almost no liquid. You can kind of see from, I don't know, can you guys see this? That's just like yeast for the most part, a tiny, tiny bit of liquid and a bunch of mushy raisins. So the wine has officially been transferred. A little bit of air. Yeah, I'm sure a bit is okay. I'm just being a bit careful. You know, I have this stuff anyway, so... Like I said, I've only been doing this for, well, I guess we're coming into close to 2 months now. So it's still a new hobby for me, so I'm still doing things a bit careful. I'm sure, you know, if I keep doing this a year from now, you know, I'll start to get into, whatever the fuck, and I'm just going to be throwing shit all over the place, but... What is the alcohol level of this? We just took a reading like 10 minutes ago, and I think it was 13. It was like... It's some... Actually, it depends if it was 0. Anyway, it's something over 13%. It's probably about 13.2, 13.3, potentially 13.4, but in that range. It's stronger than your average store-bought wine, yes. Average store-bought is like 12, right? So not by a huge amount, but we got a very respectable alcohol percentage out of just bread wine or bread yeast. This, you know, I've heard bread yeast is just kind of, it can be a bit all over the place. Hold on, let me get this stuff out of the way. And I should probably put a cap on this ASAP, but let me finish this thought. I can hear bread yeast is pretty all over the place. But the jar I have is just, I guess, some kind of super, well, not super, but it's a very hearty and alcohol tolerant strain, I suppose. So it's been working out really well. Like my mead reached, I think, close to 13%. This is above 13%. I guess those are the only two things that. Well, I guess I technically made the kvass with the bread yeast, but I mean that's 1%. That's supposed to be low alcohol volume. So sleep, working 5 hours. All right, Cement. Thanks for joining us. I'm almost done with the alcohol portion here. I'm just gonna like put an airlock on this, and I'm gonna test out or we're gonna taste the cider batch 2. Well, I mean it's technically part of batch 1.5. Let's call it that. Just sanitizing the airlock here real quick. Okay. Water levels are a bit high, but like I don't really expect too much degassing to be happening here. And if my suspicions are correct, which I suspect they are, the fermentation really should be done, especially since I removed the yeast colony. So for it to restart at this point, I think is a bit of a tall order. So I think we're good. Apple cider, that is correct, yes. All right, so we are done with the wine. Am I just going to put this away? Is there anything else I got to do with it? I don't think there is. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that for a couple days in the cabinet, and then I'll probably cold crash it. Probably, but I haven't 100% decided yet. Alright, so I'll clean off stream, so I'm not going to clean this all up now, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be that bored. That said, I do want to get the hose off this thing, so 1 second. I'll just leave that filling with water in the meantime. Okay. I mean, in the meantime, I guess I'll rinse the graduated cylinder out. All right, we're good. Okay. So, this is the tester bottle of my cider. What that means is most of it's in the glass bottles, the glass swing tops, the ones that pop off, kind of like well, certain kinds of champagne bottles do that. But in any case, I don't want to bring it out here, but you guys get the idea. One of them was in a plastic bottle, so basically I could roughly measure the level of carbonation by squeezing it, and basically I let them keep carbonating in the bottle until until there was a lot of resistance and I knew they'd be done carbonating. Now, an interesting thing happened with these, and yes, I'll taste this in a second to see if it actually did work out. I had two different types of bottles that came out of the one batch of sweet sparkling spiced apple cider. The last batch was just kind of leftovers, and it had a lot of yeast in it. The first, and from now on I'll do what, basically I'm going to do things better from now on. This is my first cider, first time carbonating, anything like that. So what happened was the first batch was really clean. It had very little yeast in it. And then there was dregs at the end, and then it wouldn't fit into a bottle properly. So for those of you guys who you might remember, I had to basically the composition of the liquid was a bit different. And then so that all went into one separate glass or plastic bottle, and that had a lot more yeast in it. And I added a different amount of sugar to it so it would carbonate differently, and I kept my eye on it separately. That carbonated immediately. It took like a day or something, and then I drank it, and it was really good. I drank that on stream. These, however, had probably a comparable amount of sugar, but a lot less yeast to work with, and they just weren't carbonating. So I opened them all up again, and I created a liquid of, basically I mixed up a bit of water, I think about maybe a teaspoon or so of champagne yeast, and a bit of honey. And I mixed it all up so that, kind of got going a bit. And then I spooned even amounts of this yeast, honey, water mixture, a little bit by little bit, into each bottle, and then closed it up again. And that seems to have done the trick. That restarted the kind of like a pseudo fermentation process in the bottle. Well, it's not pseudo, it's like a very minor fermentation process in the bottle. And that has started, or basically that worked, I think, because this feels pretty resistant to being squeezed. It means there should be a lot of gas in here. You have two rice cookers? No, I have one rice. Well, I technically have two. One is my old one that I haven't thrown out yet that doesn't really work. I mean, it still probably works, but and then I have a new one. If you saw something over there on the, I'm not sure what you guys can see, but way over where I have my rice cooker, there is a rice cooker-like object beside it. That's actually the bread maker. That's what I use to make the pumpernickel in. Rice daily, so here, so the family needs rice every day. Yeah, I mean, rice is a staple here for me. I make rice, not daily, but fairly frequently. This drink here, you're talking about this one? I've already added cinnamon to it. It sat on a cinnamon stick, three allspice berries, and 2 cloves for almost 2 weeks. So it's fairly spiced up. Anyway, hopefully we hear a hissing sound when I open this, and it's nice and tasty and carbonated. It'll be fine even if it's not carbonated, but carbonation is absolutely ideal. Well, there's a bit of a psst. Let's try it. Incidentally, you can see there's a tiny bit of yeast at the bottom of this bottle. That's a side effect of bottle carbonation. That is slightly carbonated. I want it to be more carbonated, actually. I might take it out of the fridge. Well, actually, no, that's not bad. It could be more carbonated, though. It reminds me a little bit of actually that wine. It's more effervescent than carbonated, but more so. It's closer to carbonated. What's the smell? I should have done that while I was in. See, here's the thing. I don't want to pour any more of this if I'm going to decide to carbonate it further. I think the batteries are running out on the phone. I gotta do this fast. What do you mean by artisan water? Like, it's sparkling. It's just on the lower end of sparkling. You know what? I can probably pour a little bit more and it'll be fine. The smell is like honestly like cinnamon. It's cinnamon and clove and just like a hint of apple. It's more spices than apple. Nutmeg, allegedly allspice has a similar flavor. I don't know. You could probably add nutmeg to it, but I didn't. Angry Orchard? I don't know. I don't make a habit of drinking too many ciders that often. I don't buy cider that often. I don't know. Does Angry Orchard smell like spices? If you can think of a cider that smells like spices, it might be kind of close. Yeah, I'm mainly just getting kind of a cinnamony, kind of clovish sort of mixture. It's not like, you know, I'm shoving clove into my nose or something like this overpower thing. It's sort of faint in the background with just a kind of a hint of apple mixed in there. Yeah, it's kind of festive. It's got, yeah, sort of that spice flavor. Anyway, I'll be right back. I'm just going to check on something real quick. Okay. Executive decision here. I am going to take my ciders out of the fridge and let them carbonate for a couple more days. Yeah, let's do that. Just tighten this one up here. Now, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to tell how much this one is carbonated now at this point because I have opened the seal or whatever. The flavor is nice though. I like where it's at. I just want it to be a bit more carbonated. Alright, so they can just sit under the table for now. This can just, I don't know. I can join its friends again. All right. Had a nice hiss. What did? When I opened it? I don't remember. Oh yeah, let's check up on the Kvass. It's right here. Okay, so already, I don't know if you can see this from the squeezing. It's probably very hard to tell because it's very subtle. But already this feels very carbonated. Like I suspected it was already quite effervescent going into this, and it's just filling this bottle up with gas. So it probably needs to go into the fridge sometime before I go to sleep tonight. We'll see though. I might be able to leave it overnight. I'm a bit hesitant to leave it overnight because I don't want things blowing up while I'm asleep, but this at least is turning out very nicely with the carbonation process. The fact that I'm already getting results is quite nice. Alright, do we want to talk about... So, there's also video games to be played. We could also talk about my next brew. I'll be quick about that. I don't want to talk about that too long. But tomorrow, or not tomorrow, I have one completely free carboy. The wine... I don't know how much longer the wine is going to sit in there. That's something I have to sit on, as in the thought. But I do have one free carboy to just do whatever with. I think I want to make a mead because right now I don't really want to go out and buy a whole bunch of beer ingredients to do that specifically. A beer is an interesting concept, but I think what I want is another mead. Of all the things I've done, I think actually the best thing I've made so far is actually the first thing I made when I had like no idea what I was doing. So I guess that's good. Not that I dislike the other things, it's just the meat is actually legitimately really good. I really, really like it. So I might try and do a more complicated mead. So for those who are not familiar, mead is a honey-based alcohol. Some people say honey wine. I used to say honey wine, which is apparently incorrect. Mead and wine are completely separate things. So it's kind of a contradiction when you say that. But in any case, so some kind of flavored mead, because the mead I made was more standard. I mean, it has sort of flavoring agents in it, in the sense that it had some other things in there, but you know, the primary flavor there is like honey mead. Malt is in like a malt mead? Yeah, that's called when you make mead with beer ingredients, it's called Bragot or something like that, I think. But yeah, that's getting into the different kinds of meads I can make. Because there's also, well, here's the short list of things I want to try next. I want to try a pomegranate mead. I can do that fairly easily by just buying pomegranate juice, but not too much because pomegranate juice is expensive. Honey is already expensive. This is going to be like an expensive thing if I do that. Um, I'm looking at like $30 in ingredients just for a gallon, and like this is supposed to not cost money. That's the point. Now, granted, I'm still getting like four plus bottles, potentially like 5 bottles out of it. So yeah, that's ultimately worth it. If I had to buy something like that in the store, it cost me like $100 at least. Hell, if it was pomegranate mead, probably more. I don't think you even buy pomegranate mead. But anyway, that's not the point. I can also see the easy thing. I already have all the ingredients for, well, not the honey, but I have to buy more honey. I could make a metheglin, which is a spice mead, so very similar to the cider, but yeah, all just the spices that I have in the cabinet, the sticks of cinnamon, the allspice, the cloves. Given that I specifically bought whole sticks of cinnamon and the allspice for brewing, it would be nice to use those again. So that's a plus in that's definitely in favor of the metheglin there. So the spiced mead. The other option that I can think of right off the top of my head is, actually there's a couple. Another likely one is a capsicumel, which is a mead made with chili peppers. Because I've had these things sitting around for years. Some of you might remember from that old League of Legends video I did from years ago, the ghost pepper. I still have, well, basically most cultures, maybe not most, but a lot of cultures around the world drank mead. It's not a particularly complicated thing. It's fermented honey, so it's from all over the place. Although I was saying it would have been nice if the mead was done for the Valhalla play streams, but I mean, it certainly was drank in Scandinavian regions, just other places as well. The capsicum. I do have a bunch of ghost peppers, dried ghost peppers sitting around. So they're dried ghost peppers. Presumably they never go bad. They're just sitting in my cabinet. I could throw 1 or 2 of those in there. Sounds more interesting than pleasant. I don't know. Might be a neat experiment. I don't know. I could always put 1 ghost pepper in primary fermentation, and if that's not spicy enough for me, or I want more of the flavor of that or whatever, I can put a second ghost pepper in secondary fermentation. So that is always an option. The other option I have is various fruit meads, and that's just as a general category. I have a whole bunch of frozen blueberries, so I could try making a blueberry mead, but that gets a bit messy because then there's like a fruit mash floating around in there, and I don't have the bucket fermenters. I only have the gallon carboy fermenters. It would be a lot easier if I had a bucket fermenter, because then I could just like take it out more easily and be less of a mess, and I could put a bag in there and keep all the fruit contained. So yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have any opinions on which of those sound the most, or if we happen to, for whatever reason, have any kind of like expert mead brewers in here? Your experiences with the subject? Because everything I mentioned has pros and cons. Really. The metheglin, honey and spices, that's the easiest one in the sense that the spices are bought and I could use them. We always drank homebrew. Oh, Viking blood. Yeah, so that would be with the fruit meads, which would fall under, what are they called again? Melomels, I think. The thing is, I'd have to go out and get cherries, but I could do it. I was actually watching a couple videos on that recently, the Viking's blood specifically. Though allegedly, if you're doing Viking reenactment, that's not historically accurate. Apparently, it's Viking's blood was a name, I believe, that came up during like Sweden's imperial era, and they named it after the fact. But it does still. I mean, the point is, or not the point, but it still does sound neat. I wouldn't be opposed to making that. I've had barley wine before. I wasn't a huge fan of how barley wine tasted, but if it got mixed with sort of a honey mead flavor thing, that might be neat. I don't know. Honey's pretty classic. Yeah, honey's have been available in most regions of the world. So Generally, I'm not a fan of like sour alcohols usually, which it makes it. I've heard that the Kvass that I have over there is a bit on the sour side, so we'll see how that turns out. But so like sours and like the beer, I'm not a huge fan of stuff like that. I didn't hate the barley wine. I wouldn't go out of my way to procure it. But all right, well, yeah, a lot of options. I don't think I'm going to decide here at the table. I have to still go out shopping to buy this stuff anyway, so it's not like something I can do it right now anyway. So wheat wine? That sounds weird. White rum or absinthe? I can't remember if absinthe is like actual proper absinthe is legal in Canada or not. I think it used to be illegal in the United States, but that changed. I'm not really sure. I don't know about Canada. I've never had absinthe before. It's not in the UK. Really? Okay. Right, because you guys separated from Europe, so everything's different now. You guys floated off into the Atlantic and became your own continent. I'm not making moonshine. Distilling is technically illegal, and I'm not really interested in distilling anything. Well, okay, so I still want to play video games. I'm not actually. Can someone give me the time? Is anyone in Pacific Standard Time? I don't want to like move my thing around and fuck it up because the last time I did that, the stream shut off. Oh, it's only 7:30. Okay, so I got lots of time. Actually, yeah, the worm. Yeah, I'm not sure about the whole wormwood thing. I don't know. I should look that up. I've never seen absinthe in the liquor store, but at the same time, I've never gone looking for it. So I don't know. That's a Google thing. No, we're not doing League today. Does anyone? Could someone here? I got more work for you guys. Could someone go check the legality of absinthe in Canada? That should be a pretty simple Google search. Tequila worms? I've never had that. I don't drink a hell of a lot of tequila. Though I will probably be putting some of my brews in a nice. I have a couple of really nice tequila bottles that will just hold my meads and my wines and stuff very nicely. So I wash those out. But which province? It should be federal, but maybe not. I don't know. Can it be? No, that might be within provincial jurisdictions. But BC. Google immediate clients. Okay, so it is legal here. It's been legal since 2014. Okay, well maybe I'll try it out one of these days. It's probably expensive though. Yeah, all alcohol is expensive in Canada. Okay, here's the deal. I'm gonna play some video games in a second. Well, I mean, in the meantime, you guys can keep asking questions. I'll get back to that. We'll finish up the alcohol discussion in a moment. I just need to do a quick cleanup of some of the crap that's in the sink because it's all still in there. I'm not gonna clean everything, just the main stuff, so the sink isn't full of my brewing equipment. Can you even get what? Mochi? Probably. I've never tried. It would probably be in the manual as to whether or not I should be doing it. British company has no regulation for Thujon content, essentially illegalizing absinthe in any form there. Provinces of Ontario, Alberta, and Nova Scotia allow the sale of absinthe with a Thujon content. Okay, so it's regulated in terms of the amount. The remaining Canadian provinces do not allow the sale. Okay, so it is provincial. Interesting. The remaining Canadian provinces do not allow the sale of absinthe containing vary by province. The laws are subject to change. Huh. Actually, you know what? I just realized something. That makes total sense that it's based on provincial things. Because, yeah, drug laws are different from province to province. like there's some kind of thing going on right now where people want to, or certain elements of the provincial government want to completely decriminalize all drugs, or at least possession of drugs in BC. So I don't know if that'll go through, mind you. But your own sourdough culture? No, I've never. Basically, with my bread machine, I mainly make pumpernickels and occasionally rye breads because I like pumpernickel. Weed's been legal in Canada for a while. It's been like illegal for it was illegal for a very long time, but no one gave a shit and just it was whatever. But it was formally made legal. I mean, it probably depended on where you were too. But if you were, say, in Vancouver, no one gave a shit about anything. So long as you weren't, I don't know, growing just grotesque amounts of it, and you were some kind of weed baron, I don't think really anyone cared what you were doing. But it's been legal for some time now. I want to say maybe 10 years, 10 years, something like that. It seems to go bad faster. I haven't had mine go bad, but I tend to eat it quickly. In fact, I have some right here. This is now the bread show. When we're done with alcohol, here's my pumpernickel. This one turned out, I don't know why. This one is the fluffiest, this kind of lightest, most airy, it's like the yeast did its thing and puffed up the most pumpernickel I've ever made. And I don't know why, because it's all a bread maker and I use the same measurements, but something weird happened, so I don't know. Culture restaurant? No, well, because it's the bread maker, right? The bread maker does everything. Like, it's all time, so it should have been the same. Cara bread? I don't actually know what that is. It's cara bread. Why does that sound familiar? I might just be imagining something, but it's not like that super flat one, is it? Indian spiced onion bread. Well, that sounds nice. Fluffy option? No, no fluffy option. It's a loaf, not. Huh. I'll look that up. What do I have to look up when I go to the computer now? So cara bread, and there was like one other thing. You're thinking milk bread, yeah. I've never made that. Bread. Well, if we're talking bread in Japan as a general category, it tends to be quite well. Asian baking, East Asian baking, I should say, is kind of its own. It is really good. It tends to be the general rule of thumb is it's very light, it's fluffy, and it's sweet. I'm sure I could make it if I wanted to. Just look up a recipe or something. I don't make a hell of a lot of bread. I just do periodically. For example, that loaf I made there specifically turn into the kvass, which is a bit weird because allegedly the kvass is what you did with old stale bread, but I used bread that I just literally just made. So, well, not literally. I think I made it the day before. Bread that is salty. I don't know anything about Korea. I've never been there, but. Kvass, spelled Kvass, although it may depend on the region that it's from and there's alternate spellings. I could ask some Koreans. Wait, what? You know Korean people that can give us some answers on Korean cuisine? Korean cuisine is actually one thing I don't know a hell of a lot about. I had Korean food, but not like a lot of it. So it's been good when I've tried it. I imagine though, given the trends I see in East Asian baking, It's probably similar to like Chinese baking, and like when you go to like a Chinese bakery or like a Japanese bakery and you get like that kind of really sweet, light, fluffy sort of baked goods. Probably something like that if I had to guess, or at least there'd be some commonality. Oh right, you play Tekken, of course. Hang out with all the Korean Tekken gods. Um, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, I don't know. If you haven't, go to either a Chinese or a Japanese bakery and just get baked goods. You'll never go back to like standard white people baking ever, ever again. Man, the cakes are so damn good. To this day, the best cake I've ever had was from Japan. It's this really kind of cocoa rich, light, fluffy chocolate cake, and oh my god, that was so good. I was supposed to wash stuff, wasn't I? Hey, we got a bot in there. Amazing. Means I'm. Oh no, I'm gonna guess Kalashcha killed it. Yeah, Japanese cheesecakes can be pretty good too. Yeah. Strawberry shortcakes. I've had some very good strawberry shortcakes in Japan as well. My favorite was just this one because I like a very heavy cocoa-y flavor in anything chocolate like. Sort of a darker, richer kind of thing, less, overpowering sweet. Incidentally, most chocolate in Japan tastes more like that, so I don't know, maybe that's where my preference comes from. But man, this cake was so damn good. And it came from like a grocery store or something lame like that too. Well, it was like a bakery inside a grocery store, so it wasn't even something super crazy good. It was just like a really good cake. Um, anyway, I said I was going to play video games, wasn't I? Japan is really great if you don't have to work. Go visit, don't live there, because it's interesting. It's for both those things for very similar reasons. Because Japan takes like everything super seriously, and shit has to get done right, or I don't know, you get executed or something. I'm pretty sure it's some sort of federal crime if you produce bad food or do a bad job. It's just no. So as a work environment, because everything has to be done right and it's all high stress and everything, it's not great to work there. But if you get to reap the benefits of everyone else's hard work without doing work yourself, then it's really good. Like I said, I've never had a bad meal in Japan. And I've said this numerous times in the past. But wait, what was I talking about? I started reading chat and I lost my train of thought. Um, oh, oh, battery power 5%. Okay, we got to wrap this up really quickly, and then I'll run back to the computer and turn OBS on. Tastes just like UK chocolate, which is nice from being. Does it? Okay, well that's cool then. It sounds like you got great chocolate in the UK because yeah, Japanese chocolate's great. Um, Chatty in pubs, maybe I don't know. I never chatted up Yakuza in the pubs personally, but yeah. So take advantage of all the awesome stuff that's produced in Japan because it's got like this very prideful like craftsman attitude to things. Like you do your job, you do it well, even if you don't necessarily like it, you do a good job. And then if you can just get this without having to do that yourself, it's great. It's just I wouldn't want to be involved in that sort of work culture because I like to just fuck around and not have to work hard. So I'm fine living in North America. No pinky. UK, I figured out. Oh, yeah, no pinky. That means something rather specific, yes. BC is the place to go for quicker trips. In what context? Anyway, we can talk about that. Don't like paid overtime. I don't like work at all. I think I'm streaming. Man, what am I talking about? Honestly, streaming is like the hardest work I've ever done, like of anything. But anyway, hold on a sec, guys. Hopefully the phone doesn't die. I'm gonna quickly. No, let's. I'll deal with this crap in the yeah. So I gotta like change the plans here because battery's dying. I need to go over to. We'll transfer back to the computer right now.